But I think a lot of people are under the impression that the whole world and system is about to collapse, and I'm not so sure about that. With that being said, it's September. I don't know. I'll call it 50-50. Any predictions on your end? Gun to your head. 3, 2, 1. Raise or no raise?
Raise.
Yeah, I can see that. I would say 51-49 raise.
I think it's prudent to price in a raise than not, to be honest with you.
It's kind of also prudent to stomp out inflation.
Yeah.
It's prudent. I would argue that it's prudent for them to do another one and really hammer, because I do think when they ease off, things are going to pop.
What's interesting about this whole what we've been talking about today is how short term minded the liberals are in their policies. So going back to the first section of what we've been talking about today, how it seems to me that the whole argument for that one guy that you were talking to the other day about, the liberals being the good guys and the conservatives being the bad guys. The problem is the liberals and their policies that they put forth are very short term. They're very short-minded policies, right? It's like what you just said. It's, let's do this to just keep us in power. Let's kick the can down the road another year, another 6 months or whatever.
Another decade.
Whatever. And it's only going to work. These policies will only work for a year, but then when they stop working, we'll come up with some new fucking and
I love that word.
and the can we'll just kick it down the road a little bit more.
Yeah.
The problem with doing that is eventually there's going to be so much fuckery that you can't kick the can anymore, because if you keep on kicking that can, it's just going to get kicked off a cliff. The cliff is coming.
Possibly.
Right? The cliff is coming. So from a conservative's perspective, because I did see in a clip that Justin Trudeau, Connor, maybe see if you can find a clip. Justin Trudeau was talking about how Poilievre is constantly driving fear and talking about cuts and cuts and cuts. The problem is yes, to some extent, cuts need to happen. Okay? And that's not exactly an easy pill to swallow. But it's the reality that in the short term, there might be some pain. But in the long term, it's going to save our ass. That's the problem. And I feel like that's one of the biggest dichotomies between the liberals and the conservatives, is that the liberals will be like, okay, here's $200 a year for dental. Here's $300 for groceries. That does fuck all.
It's actually inflationary.
It's inflationary. It does nothing. That doesn't help you keep food on the table. Maybe for the fucking week it does. Maybe what are you gonna do with dental? Like that? Are you joking?
Have you seen dentist?
Yeah,
prices
it's ridiculous. It's insane. So doing stuff like that doesn't actually help the bigger issue.
Let me ask you this: how many people, let's say as a percentage, are long-term thinkers versus short-term thinkers?
Zero.
Very small percentage.
Yeah.
That's why.
I know.
That's why it works.
Yeah. People see a check come through the mail. They're like,
Yeah. And I
want
amazing. Yeah. I want to touch on your comment too, that eventually the can's going to come up to the cliff and get kicked off.
Yeah. It's fucking close.
So close might mean 50 years. It might mean 100 years. It might mean next year. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I think a lot of people are under the impression that the whole world and system is about to collapse, and I'm not so sure about that. Mm-hmm. I think there's going to be other consequences that will kind of fly under the radar for most people because they're so ignorant and caught up in the matrix that they won't see what's happening to them right under their noses.
I think the soonest thing that's going to happen, the most likely thing that's going to happen is, our 65% home ownership rate is going to drop significantly.
100%.
It's going to revert. It's going to invert.
Yes, and that's another way of saying the rich will get richer. The owners of businesses and real estate and other assets will it'll get concentrated more into their hands.
Less and less people just own houses. That's it.
That's definitely part of it. The gap between rich and poor will grow 100%. And the liberals will come out and say, oh yeah, we don't like those rich people. We don't like those rich people. We want everybody to be equal. But they're actually perpetuating the dichotomy.
Yeah. Again, law of inversion. Look at the worst things that you can do in order to make the lower and middle class more poor. What do you do? What do you do in a country to make those classes of citizens in your country more poor?
I'll tell you the ultimate thing you do. There's a lot, and we can probably hit on a bunch of them. But the ultimate thing that you do is you print money.
And what did they do?
They
Over the
printed
last
a
couple
lot of
years?
money, and
40% of all the currency in the entire country, something along those lines.
yes,
Yeah.
in the last 2 years, it was very egregious. But every year prior, the same thing was happening, just at a slower, imperceptible pace for the middle class. Inflation is theft of time and savings of the middle class. But the middle class doesn't know it. And even though it's staring them right in the face right now, you go talk to 98% of middle class people that are just living their lives, and you ask them their deep understanding of inflation, they don't understand.
It's crazy
how powerful it is.
It's also crazy how people, I'll post about this type of stuff about, how this is inflationary, like insane compensation packages for, like UPS and stuff like that. And people think that because I'm saying this stuff, I'm a fucking bootlicker. Okay. Which is like I don't work for anybody. So like, I don't know how you see that, but anyways,
bootlicker meaning you don't like the corporations?
Well,
or
no. So watch. Define bootlicker. A bootlicker is somebody that's like for big corps.
Gotcha.
Right?
Got it.
But
okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, right. So the problem is that like we're advocating for the lower middle class. Which
doesn't sound like it.
I know.
Yeah,
I know
that's the
because
problem.
there's like a catch-22 here.
Yeah,
it's
you have
like,
to be able to.
Hey, we don't want you to make more money in the short term because long term you're getting fucked. but it's the long term outlook that will save you. That's the problem that I feel we have. And it's really hard for people to grasp that concept because when you have that type of carrot dangling in front of your face, but the next carrot is like, 10 years down the road, it's hard. It's hard to wait, right? But I know what it's like to wait because I had to wait, 10 years to even get to any kind of level of success where I'm like, okay, I can kind of breathe now, right?
Yeah, and
so I know what it's like to wait, and I know it's fucking hard.
Yeah, they call kind of like there's a lot of talk around that wage hike, whatever for UPS as like a wage spiraling.
Yeah,
wages are getting out of control.
100%.
They got this, now we get this. Now all the government jobs are getting raises to keep up with inflation, and everybody's now demanding more money to keep up with inflation. So you have to raise the wages, which is part of the reason that the market's not crashing. By the way. Like, yes, inflation's up, but wages are up big time too.
Yeah.
Now the problem is a lot of lower and middle class jobs are not.
People would argue with you about that too, about how wages haven't nearly kept up with the pace of inflation, right?
For the average person,
I agree.
But a lot of people, right? If you're in the right industries, if you're offering
if you're a person that offers a lot of value to the business that you're working for, those are the people that have kept up with inflation and arguably blown it out of the water.
Yes, that's a good point too.
So
some high income jobs, some
and what a lot of people need. So first of all, a lot of people need to understand that we are absolutely advocating for the lower to middle class, which we really shouldn't be, because at the end of the day, we get more rich. Listen. At the end of the day, people need to understand. You and I owning real estate, I own some businesses. We get more rich the more shitty liberal policies that get put in place. The more you make money in the middle and lower class, the more we get rich. It's inflationary. We are advocating against what makes us rich.
Yeah, I want to give a quick example on that. You're 100% right, but some of the properties that I own and I'm sure you own, 3 years ago were renting for $1,500. Now they're $2,600.
Yeah,
$2,700.
100%.
Yes, you can't get that right away, but when those tenants leave, your base price that you paid is the same.
I'll give you an example.
Now the rent is double.
For sure. I'll give you an example. I just made a video on YouTube about it, actually, not too long ago. I had a renter that was in one of my units in La Jolla. Renaissance facing, one bed, one bath. She died. So she was in there for years. I think the unit was renting for like $900 or whatever like that. I'm going to get over $2,000 now for that unit.
Jeez, man.
So another scenario, we just got a tenant out. not paying, evicted, that rent is going up like, I don't know, like 60%, I think, after we do a quick refresher. So like all of you, all of the people advocating for like higher wages, higher this, higher that, what's going to happen is, number one, you're going to enter into a new tax bracket. You're going to get fucked in your ass by a higher tax.
Very good point.
By a higher tax.
Very good point.
Percentage.
Yeah.
And then what's going to happen? The cost of living is going to increase significantly. So you're going to get taxed higher. The cost of living is increasing. So are you actually making more? Is your net actually more?
You're the same or worse.
Maybe.
You're going to be the same or worse.
And if this perpetuates, it will for sure be worse.
Be worse, yes.
As a percentage.
If it gets even more out of control.
Exactly. So keep doing it. Keep advocating for it.
And to be clear, like
we're trying to tell you,
as business owners and real estate owners, there is a short-term period of pain right now for some people, right?
For sure.
Mortgage rates went up X amount. I can't get my rent yet, whatever. But when the dust settles over 5 or 10 years, the return on investment is going to skyrocket because of what's happening now. All the building has been put on delay. There's too many people coming into the country. It's all budding for like a huge pop in real estate prices and rents. The rents is already happening. Prices will happen when rates flatten out or stabilize. So if you can ride out this short-term painful period as an investor, business owner, whatever the case is, we are set to have a huge run higher. Probably not like COVID, 20% a year, but like, 4% compound annually. So it goes back to what you're saying. Like, we are actually advocating. We're trying, like, my main goal, because it took me a lot to wake up as a middle-class wage earner. It took me a lot of reading, a lot of people like hitting me over the head. I want to wake people up. And it seems so hard to do. It seems so hard to do because everything we're saying is a catch-22.
It's that carrot that's only a foot in front of their face.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, so we have to like talk about the carrot, make them aware of the carrot, but then make them aware of the stick behind it, leading them towards
like who's holding that stick.
Yes, and where are they leading you as you're following that carrot?
Yeah,
they're leading you over the edge of a cliff. So we have to like get past
where you will own nothing and be happy.
That's the trend.
Right?
That's the trend.